Hello and welcome to Data Analytics Foundations Nano Degree from Udacity. Here is Muhammad Ashraf. I'm so happy to be your instructor during this course. For today's sessions, it will be about the data structures. So let's go. By talking about the content of our today's sessions, first we will talk about the data structures. We will try to understand what is exactly the data structures and what are the types of data structures. After that, we will discuss some tips and notes that can help us during our work. And the final part will be the Q&A part. So firstly, what are data structures? What is exactly the data structures? Simply, data structures are the containers or just collections of data that can group, organize, or order different data types together in a different ways. So by talking about the types of data structures, actually there is a lot of data structures. There is a lot of the types of data structures, but we will focus on the main types. Here we have lists, tuples, sets, and dictionaries. By talking about the lists, we can define the list as a data structure for mutable ordered sequence of element, and we can create it just by a square brackets. As we see here, here is an example for a list, two square brackets into it, a lot of data. It is just a simple list. As we see here, here is an example for the list. And as we have mentioned that the lists are ordered sequence of elements, so we can access a specific objects through our list just by using their index, as we see here. And also, as we have mentioned, it's mutable, so we can change objects from our list. We can remove objects. We can also add a new objects into our list, as we have see here. By talking about tuples, tuples is another useful container. It's a data structure for immutable ordered sequence of elements. The difference between lists and tuples is that we cannot add or remove items from tuples or sort them in place. Here is an example for the tuple. We can just create it using parentheses and putting into it our data. Here is an example for the tuple. And here's an example that tuples are orders, and we can access specific objects from our tuples just by using the index. Here's when we are trying to change some data during our tuple, we get an error as it's immutable. The third data type is a sets, and it's a data structure for mutable and ordered collection of unique elements. We can create it just using curly brackets. Here's an example for the sets. But as we have mentioned that it's unordered, so when we try to access a specific object through our set, we get an error. And the last one will be the dictionaries. Simply, dictionary is a mutable data type that stores mapping of unique keys to a value. It's only keys and its values. As we see here, here's an example of a dictionary. We will move to our next part of today's session. It will be the tips and the tricks. And here's our first tip, that we can transform data from type to a different type. Here we transform a floating number to an integer. Here we transform an integer to a float. And here we transform a list to be a set. The second tip is that we can use a compound data structures. We can compound data structures into each other. As we see here we have a dictionary and its a keys. We have its keys, but the values is another dictionaries, so we call it data structures. Finally, we have the Q&A part. If you have any question, if you have any problem during work, just raise your hand and unmute yourself and discuss your problem, or just you can type it into the chatting box. Thank you.